I stood at the front of the community hall, clutching a folded envelope so tightly my fingers ached. Behind me, a projector hummed, and my name glowed on the screen. Except it wasn't really my name. One letter wrong. One small mistake that made it feel like I didn't fully belong in my own life. The microphone squealed, sharp enough to make people wince, and the host cleared his throat. He smiled too politely and announced there had been a special correction to the inheritance list. That phrase, special correction, hung in the air like a bad smell. Murmurs rippled through the room. These were neighbors who had watched my hair turn gray, who borrowed sugar from my kitchen, who waved at me every morning. Now they leaned toward each other, whispering. A distant cousin let out a laugh when my name was crossed out in red ink. It wasn't loud, but it was enough. Enough to cut. The lawyer cleared his throat next, slow and deliberate, and said the word revised as if he were offering mercy instead of theft. I felt my palms sweat. Faces turned toward me, strangers and family alike, all waiting for my reaction like this was part of the program. Someone behind me whispered that I must have misunderstood the will. Another voice said, "At her age, it happens." I pushed my chair back and stood. The legs scraped loudly against the floor, the sound echoing through the hall. Every head snapped toward me. The host frowned and asked me to sit down so they could continue smoothly. That's when it hit me. This moment had been planned, carefully, quietly, without me. I looked down at the envelope in my hand. It contained documents I had trusted. Now it felt useless, outdated, a prop in someone else's story. Applause broke out for the new beneficiary while I was still standing there, forgotten but visible. My face burned as curiosity in their eyes turned into pity. I walked out slowly, holding my head high, knowing everyone would remember how small they tried to make me feel. On the drive home, memories crowded in. I remembered my first job at 16, standing on tired feet so my younger siblings could eat. I remembered skipping meals, telling myself I wasn't hungry, just responsible. I had spent my life being the reliable one, the quiet fixer, the person everyone leaned on and forgot to thank. I stayed in a marriage that drained the color from my days because stability mattered more than happiness. I buried dreams under responsibility and never complained. I was always told patience would be rewarded. I helped raise children who weren't mine when their parents walked away. I loaned money I never got back, telling myself love doesn't keep receipts. I watched others advance while I stayed behind, holding everything together. The family praised my sacrifices in speeches and smiles, but they never repaid them. I trusted verbal promises more than paperwork. I believed loyalty was stronger than contracts. Looking back, I see it clearly now. My silence trained them to underestimate me. When I requested a copy of the original will, I was told there would be delays. Weeks passed, calls went unanswered, emails came back wrapped in vague language that said nothing and meant everything. I started hearing rumors that I was confused, emotional. A relative pulled me aside and suggested I let it go for my own peace. But something didn't sit right. Dates on the documents didn't align. A neighbor mentioned seeing papers signed while I was hospitalized. Grief gave way to anger, sharp, energizing, impossible to ignore. I started asking questions people didn't want to answer. Family gatherings stopped including me. I was warned not to cause trouble. Late at night, comparing copies, I noticed inconsistencies in the signatures. My hands shook, but my focus sharpened. That's when I realized it clearly. Someone had rewritten my future without permission. Then came the call, late, from an unfamiliar number. It was an old friend's daughter, someone I remembered as a shy child. She worked in legal records now. She said she recognized my name and felt uneasy. She asked if I had been present during a critical signing. My heart pounded as I said no. She explained the document trail didn't add up. She told me exactly how to request archived records the others hoped I'd never see.
Fear loosened its grip and turned into determination. Night after night, I sorted files, dates, copies, and then I found it, a notarized document filed while I was incapacitated. I knew exactly who benefited from my absence. Before hanging up, she said softly, "You have options." For the first time, I felt the power shift back to me. I filed a formal challenge to the will's validity. Shock spread through the family like wildfire, followed by anger. Lawyers gathered in a room where I was finally seated at the table. The same people who laughed avoided my eyes. Evidence was displayed piece by piece. Dates, signatures, witness statements. The room grew tense as contradictions surfaced.
The person responsible stammered when questioned directly. I testified calmly, recounting years of trust and sacrifice. My voice didn't shake when I described the betrayal. The judge paused longer than expected. Then the ruling came. The altered document was nullified. Accountability was named aloud, unmistakable. The original will was reinstated. Apologies arrived too late to matter. I declined private reconciliations. Legal consequences followed for falsified records. Assets were redistributed according to the truth. I settled debts that had lingered for years. I invested in my own comfort for the first time. I set boundaries that were finally respected. Silence replaced gossip. I felt lighter, not because I won, but because I stood. I reclaimed my name, my reputation. Peace settled in where resentment once lived. Now I speak directly, no longer seeking approval. Waiting taught me endurance, not weakness. Patience can exist alongside action. Loyalty should never erase self-worth. Question situations that rely on your silence. Document promises, even from loved ones. Standing alone is frightening, but sometimes it's the only way forward. Thank you to those who believe elders still have voices. Some revenge isn't loud, it's simply truth revealed. If you know someone who's been waiting too long, share this story with them and subscribe for more stories of quiet strength reclaimed.